stream.
Hey, everybody, it's Dale Jr. For the Dale Jr. Download. This is the Ask Junior YouTube Live segment. Welcome to everyone out there who's watching. Mike, you ready? Let's get right to it. Leah.
First question, a good one. On the fancy new table, everybody's talking about the table.
Yeah.
You have to sit around and converse around. You have a number 15 Norris Industries model. Is that the one that had or has had booze in it?
That one did have booze in it. That's a canteen, right? That's what they call a canteen?
Yeah.
It doesn't, I believe it's unsealed. All right, there's no fluid in there. But that one has been opened. We do have a Elvis Presley cantina over here that does have liquor still in it, still sealed, from 77. So
Wow.
I have actually another one of these at home. Is that one got the autograph on the front?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have another one of these at home that's sealed up downstairs, not autographed, but those were made in the 70s, obviously. Pretty cool. There's a Kill Yarborough, and I'm not sure whose else they made, but
And it came with liquor.
it did. Yeah, it had liquor in it. I don't
dang,
know.
man.
I don't even know how you pour that into a glass without getting it everywhere.
We need to make more die casts with liquor in them.
Okay. That is the stuff. When I say I collect old vintage stuff, that's the era, like the 70s and 80s. It's the 90s, But this stuff is cool.
That is cool.
All right, Daniel wants to know, how do you see video games and specifically eSports playing into the future of NASCAR?
Playing into the future, well, I'm not going to guarantee that we're going to develop drivers into the top 3 series, Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup from eSports. I do, and we got a lot of different opinions in this room about it. I do think that you can learn a lot of the basics of racing, and if you have raw ability that's untapped, maybe you learn some of the things that are important through simulation, much like you might use a flight simulator to become a pilot, all right? So you still have to get in that plane and go fly. You still have to go through that process of getting that license, doing those solo runs and so forth, but that simulator can be critical and important. So I think that it's a great way to link the two together. I, for a long time, have wanted NASCAR in general, the industry, to take these simulations seriously. So it's great to see them doing that. Junior Motorsports has a team or a franchise, whatever you want to call it, in the on the console side with NASCAR Heat on PlayStation and Xbox. We also have a franchise on the PC side, which is with iRacing and the Peak series that they have there. These are the best of the best in esports with NASCAR Heat and iRacing. The best of the best. Over thousands of different drivers that have been through this pipeline to try to get into these series. It's going to be a lot of fun to see this develop and grow. A lot of fun to watch these races and watch these guys compete. I think that there is a future there to develop esports, e-motorsports, whatever you want to call it. I think there's a great potential for this to be very popular and, sort of be a great addition to what we do at NASCAR and how we promote the sport. Plus, I think that it'll be a great way to connect to a young demographic. A lot of young fans are playing these games, and maybe this is a way to get them to have interest in the real thing and go to the racetrack and follow some of the drivers and sort of reach that sort of younger demographic. So I'm excited about it.
Crash the Hedgehog wants to know what your thoughts are on Rockingham returning to racing.
Well, I have sort of a wish list. Rockingham is on there, but it's not near the top, all right? Nashville Fairgrounds, for me, is at the top of that list. I think that North Wilkesboro would be on that list as well. It's just really, I feel, unlikely that we will go back to North Wilkesboro or Rockingham unless there is a sure, almost guarantee that we will get the kind of crowds, not only at the racetrack, but also folks tuning in. I think the tune-in crowds on network and so forth to watch the race is there. But will we get people to actually go to the race? Not just the first event. Everybody's going to go to the first race. Will they keep going to the second event, the third event, the fourth event, the fifth event? Is it sustainable to be going back to these racetracks? I'm all in on NASCAR's sort of new vision of returning to their old ways and looking at the sport through the old lens and sort of reverting back some of the things that they've been trying to do to change the sport or to try to grow the sport. I'm all in on really focusing back to our core audience, and that core audience loves Rockingham. They love North Wilkesboro. They love the history, but I just don't know whether it's a real viable option that can make money. And it's a great idea. It's a great dream, but is it a realistic dream? I'm not sure. So if it happens, I'll love it, but I'm just apprehensive, I guess.
More likely at Rockingham than North Wilkesboro, of course. I mean, it would cost so much money just to get North Wilkesboro in working condition.
Yeah, but it's a short track, and we need short tracks. But I'm with you. I mean, I'm just throwing North Wilkesboro in there because if you say Rockingham, everybody's going to say, well, what about North Wilkesboro? If you say North Wilkesboro, everybody's going to say, what about Rockingham? Yep. I mean, there's just you can't have one. You can't talk about one without the other. They both sort of in the same situation, and they're probably in the same state of
Really?
Yes.
No,
North Wilkesboro has trees growing up through the grandstands.
All right. I listen. I agree. The infrastructure, but have you been to the facility at Rockingham?
Rockingham's facility is getting that their supposed $8 million grant or whatever to help the facility. The track needs repave. Definitely needs repave,
Yep.
but the grandstands and everything it's in better shape.
We'll just have to wait to see how much of that money is actually going into this facility to make it an entertainment facility. I've seen some of the drawings and so forth about how they're trying to make it a concert facility to be able to host festivals. I think that is great. I think that really gives it a true opportunity to grow back into a facility that can sustain a race and be a place that NASCAR would want to be at. And I think this may be a great success story for other racetracks to find their way back into the racing season, the NASCAR season. I mean, we're seeing how NASCAR is going to Nashville for the banquet. Maybe that could be an influence for getting us back to the fairgrounds and racing there. If Rockingham can become financially viable as a entertainment facility, maybe that does get them down the road to where they can afford to do the upgrades they need to do to the track and facilities to get them back on the NASCAR schedule.
Joey Reynolds has noticed that you took down that you're an aspiring barbecue pitmaster from your Twitter bio. He wants to know, are you no longer in the barbecue game?
Well, I haven't barbecued enough to make that claim, and I don't want to falsify my bio. And so I felt like, man, if you're going to be aspiring, you have to be barbecuing on a regular basis, and I haven't had the chance to do that. Has this winter not felt like the longest one in your life?
Yeah.
It's done as rain.
When is the rain and the weather, the weather going to go away to where we can have some sunny days and actually get the barbecue out, have some people over? I love to barbecue and want to do more. It's frustrating to be consistent at doing, whether it's brisket, ribs, whatever. But I like the challenge, and I just don't do it enough to make that claim. I really don't.
Dustin B wants to know how sales are on Isla's taco truck, and the real question that everybody wants to know: has she stacked some of the blocks with you yet, or does she still knock them down? One of my favorite things to watch, by the way.
Yeah, right. Isla is still in the mode of pulling things out of boxes, dumping things, and pulling things apart, knocking things down. She's not in rebuild phase yet. That's supposed to be coming over the next several months or weeks even. But no, she's not stacking blocks or putting things back together. She's destroying things. I put the taco truck back organized, and she just throws everything everywhere. And the fun thing, the interesting thing, I don't know if it's very fun, but if you touch something, she wants to touch it. So whatever you pick up and put back there is coming back off right immediately. Isn't that weird? It's like anything that I have my hands on, she wants to just figure what was that? Why did you touch that? What is that? I got to figure it out. I want to know what this is, and starts look. It can be any household item. If you touch it, move it, position it. She's got to do it. She's got to see what you touched and why you're touching that. And kids, they make these awesome toys. I mean, they make these grand toys with all kinds of imagination, and it's a paper bag or a bag of grapes.
The box.
It's silly stuff that household items that they want to mess with. My hat. She wants my hat all the time. And when we're riding in the car in the car seat, it ain't no damn toy that's going to keep her quiet. It's my hat.
Right.
So we're having a lot of fun with that. I'm just learning so much.
Yeah. That's exactly what happens. Yeah, the kids.
This question kind of goes along with our conversation earlier, but Corbin wants to know, who do you think the best late model driver is in the country right now?
Oof. Well, Bubba Pollard's sort of got to be at the top of a lot of people's lists. Just won the cars race at Southern National Speedway this past Saturday. I think Josh Berry, our guy. I mean, I think he's great. And one thing I love about Josh is that he's the total package of he can get the car ready. He knows what to do during the week and at the racetrack, and he's a great driver. But if you got to say the greatest, I think you got to almost say Bubba Pollard. I mean, the guy is just dominant in everything he does.
I think that's what makes him great. Is the same thing you said about Barry, because he works on his own stuff too.
Bubba does, yeah. And he drives other people's cars and continues to have the same success in other equipment. Yeah. That's one thing. Like when we talk about drivers that get in cars and make them better, well, you can put Bubba Pollard in a reasonable car and expect great things. He even ran the 300 at Martinsville in the true late models last year and nearly won the race and doesn't race true late models, right? So
ran David Rogers' car in Speed Week's first night. They were kind of out of the ballpark and got it tuned in and boom.
That's the mark of a great driver that can hop in other people's cars many different times, and do as well as his own. So no other driver really comes to mind that I think competes with Bubba at this moment.
All right, I think that's all we have time for today.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate everybody tuning in for Ask Junior Live. We got a big, robust podcast this week, so we're going to keep this segment kind of concise. Tune in next week for another Ask Junior Live. Appreciate it.
And thank you, Nationwide, for sponsoring this segment.